Gymnast Simone Biles, the greatest of all time, is withdrawing from another Olympic event to focus on her mental health. The women's individual all-around competition is scheduled to take place tomorrow morning, but the team now says it will happen without her. This comes after she pulled out of the team finals yesterday. Amy Robach is in Tokyo with the latest.
This morning, Simone Biles pulling out of her second Olympic competition in 2 days, announcing overnight she won't compete in the individual all-around. The U.S. gymnastics team applauding her, writing in a statement, after further medical evaluation, Simone Biles has withdrawn from the final individual all-around competition. We wholeheartedly support Simone's decision and applaud her bravery in prioritizing her well-being. The news coming just a day after she removed herself from the women's gymnastics all-around team final after this shaky vault routine as soon as the competition began. Overnight, Olympic swimmer Katie Ledecky speaking out in support of Biles after winning the inaugural 1,500-meter race.
We have the most eyes on us of anyone in the world right now.
The 24-year-old, who is known as the greatest of all time, says she realized she wasn't in the right headspace to continue the event and didn't want to ruin her team's chances at winning a medal. Her team also writing that her courage shows yet again why she is a role model for so many.
I've just never felt like this going into a competition before, and I tried to go out here and have fun and warm up in the back, went a little bit better, but then once I came out here, I was like, no, mental is not there.
Biles sitting the rest of the event out, enthusiastically cheering on her teammates from the sidelines.
I didn't want to do something silly out there and get injured, so I thought it was best if these girls took over and did the rest of the job, which they absolutely did.
The team coming together, rallying and taking home the silver medal. Olympic gymnast Aly Raisman was on the 2016 Olympic team with Biles, part of the gold medal winning Final Five.
I think people forget that they are human. There are good days. There are tough days.
Yeah, I say put mental health first. It's okay sometimes to even sit out the big competitions to focus on yourself, because it shows how strong of a competitor and person that you really are, rather than just battle through it.
Her teammate, Jordan Childs, who stepped in for her during competition yesterday, called Simone Biles her best friend, writing on Instagram that they won their medal together. Diane?
All right, Amy Robach in Tokyo, thank you. And let's go to USA Today columnist Christine Brennan, psychotherapist Dr. Teresa Taylor-Williams, and ABC's Kenneth Moten for a little bit more on this. Thank you all for being here. Kenneth, I'll start with you. You were actually in the arena yesterday when Simone Biles stumbled on vault and then pulled out of the team finals. How did she and her team seem as this all happened?
Well, they seem pretty confident that they should move the way they were moving, which is for Simone Biles to pull out, to step away, to allow Team USA Gymnastics to move forward so that they could get as many points as they could, again, winning silver. But I will say for those inside those stands, even though there are no public spectators, a lot of media there, a lot of people who analyze Simone Biles and what she can do, there was first concern for Simone Biles because we all want to know what was going on. And I have to admit for myself, selfishly, there was disappointment because when it comes to Simone Biles, there is no one, Diane, who can do what she does. She's the greatest of all time. And if you have a chance to see her compete in person, you want that. But you also have to think about her health and safety, which is why we've seen the outpouring of support we've seen in the past 24 hours for Simone Biles. Many praising her actions, saying that she needs a mental health day. She needs that mental health rest and needs to prioritize her mental health. And many pointing out that when it comes to gymnastics, Diane, this is a dangerous sport. If you don't have your mind in the right places, if gymnasts doesn't have his or her mind in that right place, they can hurt themselves. They can injure themselves. They can break their necks. They can even kill themselves by what they do there. And so this is something that has to be a priority. And so we actually saw the teammates today showing up to support Simone Biles, her teammates from that all around, praising her on Instagram, praising their leader, their anchor. That's the type of support we've seen for Simone Biles, that she opens up this discussion about mental health.
And Christine, I know you're in Tokyo as well. What are you hearing from other athletes about Biles' decision to now withdraw from the individual all-around as well?
Diane, this is a bombshell. This is one of those rare moments in an Olympic Games where one story just takes over and something so unexpected. It's not like it was a game, a upset in a sporting event. This was about a human being and her life and a decision she made that has just rocked these Olympic Games. The ripple effects are all over. Everyone's talking about it. When I say everyone, at the swimming venue today, all the swimmers, gold medalist Katie Ledecky, as you saw in Amy's piece, and Ariane Titmus from Australia being asked about it, especially Katie Ledecky talking in a beautiful way about Simone. They're 3 days apart in age, born in March of 1997. They're parallel structure in their lives, and of course, two of the biggest names here. And Katie talked about just how hard it is. So now, as you said, she's pulled out of a second event. It's not just the team event, but it's the individual all around. For those who maybe don't follow this except once every 4, or in this case, 5 years, that's what Mary Lou Retton won back at the 1984 Olympics in LA. So it is really the competition that makes household names and women especially that go on to be as famous as any athletes in our country. And so Simone's out of that. So again, shock, sadness. Athletes I know were hoping that she could come back soon. Now, of course, all that is left significantly, but still all that remains are the individual apparatus events, which come the weekend and early next week. And I think there's great doubt, frankly, Diane, that Simone could participate in those either because, as you were saying, about just the injuries. This is not like a swimmer going out and having a bad day, but they can still maybe swim, or a runner, or even a football player, a baseball player. Simone Biles could get injured very seriously if she's not on top of her game. And I think that is, of course, again, a concern of so many of the Olympic athletes who are here cheering her on.
She sure could. And just a quick explainer to any viewers who might not know, the individual all-around competition part of the overall gymnastics competition is when one athlete competes on all of the events, and the ultimate determining factor of who is the best in all of them competing together. So that is the competition that Simone Biles now just withdrew from. Still ahead are the individual events, where you decide who is the best in beam and who's the best in bars and who's the best in vault and so on. So Dr. Williams, if Simone Biles had hurt her arm or her leg or something like that, it'd be really easy to understand why she wouldn't compete. But a lot of people just don't get why mental health would impede someone from competing like this. So can you explain a little bit about the factors at play here?
Absolutely. The factors at play, number one, of course, is her physical health, and that she could have hurt herself very badly and even worse. But as far as mental health is concerned, because we can't see the scars, because if we break an arm or a leg, we don't have a cast, people look at us and say, oh, you're fine, because we don't see the physical representation of what you're suffering from. Mental health is the base for all of what we do. And so we cannot perform at our highest level at any of our professions if our mental health is not at its peak and we are well. And so what Simone Biles has done has shown great courage. She has made it so much easier for us in the mental health community to do our jobs. For someone at her level, the greatest of all time at this young woman's young age, is just amazing. And what she has done is taken her own mental health and saying, this is what's most important now for me, and I need to take attention to it. And it's encouraging to see how her fellow athletes, how she's still in her suffering, and while she was in a state that was not well, recognized that she needed to step back for her other teammates to excel. What an amazing young woman, and what an amazing statement about how we need to attend to our mental health.
And Christine, Simone talked a lot about the immense pressure surrounding these Olympic Games, even saying she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. What do you think she meant by that? And what do you say to critics who say, well, that pressure just comes with being an elite athlete?
I think Simone's talking about being a survivor as well of the terrible, horrific Larry Nassar sex abuse scandal, the worst sex abuse scandal in the history of sports. And Simone really had to put the sport on her back, on her shoulders, Diane, and be the conscience of the sport, calling out the leaders for all of their failings. So she's been doing that over the last 3 or 4 years as she has herself been a survivor of this terrible sexual abuse from the former team doctor. So I think she means that. And then as far as those who are out there criticizing her, I hope she's not looking at that on social media. Of course, those people will be out there. But this is a great athlete who said, I can't do it. And I think we need to believe her and listen to her, respect her, and learn from her, as I believe we're really looking at a movement here of athletes. Michael Phelps, of course, Naomi Osaka, now Simone Biles, who are talking about issues that are so important not only to them, but to our children. They're role models to millions, and they can really help people around the world. So I think that's the message from Simone Biles in a big way here at these Olympic Games.
And it does seem like she's getting a huge outpouring of support, more than anything. So, Dr. Williams, what do you think is the broader impact of this decision on the overall conversation around mental health in sports, but also mental health in general?
I think this is going to increase the conversation. It's going to take it in the right direction. The fact that we have athletes and entertainers and people who are so visible, who have fans everywhere. Simone Biles' action on an international stage will bring this conversation to the forefront, that not only are athletes powerful and amazing people and great at what they do, they are also human, and they have to attend to their behavioral health. This conversation is going to elevate. It's going to make us take a look at what they do, but also the humanistic side, that they are human, that they feel everything that anyone else feels, and that they cannot be pushed to a breaking point. And I think for so many young women and young men who are looking at these athletes and saying, I want to be just like them and be at the Olympics one day, but maybe I also suffer from anxiety or depression, or I have mental health challenges, I can still do it.
And as a former gymnast myself, I can tell you from personal experience, your headspace can make the difference between an amazing performance and a disastrous one. So, Kenneth, do we know what's next for Simone? Is it possible she'll compete again in Tokyo?
Well, as Simone works on herself, it appears that what's helping is being with teammates. She was spotted tonight here in Tokyo at the individual all-around men's gymnastics final, supporting Team USA, cheering for them, sitting next to Michaela Skinner there. Seems like she was in good spirits, having a good time there. As far as her competing, we don't know. Team USA Gymnastics says they will continue to evaluate her to see if she will compete next week, but at this point, we do not know. And remember, Diane, if she pulls out, if you do not compete here, when you're done competing here in Tokyo, you have 48 hours to leave the country.
All right, Christine Brennan, Dr. Williams, Kenneth Moten, thank you all.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.